right, let's talk about the 3 reasons why climbers don't train their legs. Number 1, climbing is an upper body sport. This is a really common thing to think because when people start into climbing, probably the barrier is their forearms, a little bit of upper body strength, maybe some technical prowess. But as we move along in our climbing career, we start to realize, especially if we're bouldering, especially if we're doing comp style work or doing a lot of slabs, we start to realize that, lower body strength can be a significant barrier to progression as well, particularly in certain styles of climbing. 15, 16. So number 2, I don't want to get bulky. The reality is the type of training that we're going to be providing you for lower body strength training as a climber isn't going to be the type of work that's going to make you bulky. I always say that sort of takes away from the hard work that bodybuilders put in to get bulky, and we don't want you to get bulky, right? So we're going to be working in a low rep, high intensity realm that's going to maximize recruitment of your muscle fibers and optimize your strength without building a lot of mass. Number 3, body weight is enough. The reality is that the majority of body weight exercises are totally insufficient to provide a strength stimulus. The rep range that we want to be working in for a strength stimulus is sort of the 3 to 6 rep range, maybe airing into the 8 rep range. This will prevent us from developing too much muscle mass while stimulating recruitment. So movements like skater squats and movements like pistol squats for the right person might be sufficient to stimulate a strength adaptation, but we really want to make sure that we're challenging ourselves in that sort of 4 to maximum 8 rep range, nearing failure at the end of those sets, in order to get that physiological adaptation of strength and muscle recruitment. So now that we've talked about the 3 main reasons that I see climbers skipping leg day, what we're going to chat about next is some of the big benefits, the whys behind our programming of leg day climbers training strategy. The first reason is that climbing by nature is a very dynamic sport. We often think about sort of dynamic upper body power, but the more that we can integrate our lower body into these movements, more reserve we're going to have in our upper body, and we're going to be able to send harder. When we talk about power, power is how fast we can produce our peak force, right? So peak force, or maximum strength, is a critical part of producing power. If you're really fast and you don't have a very high peak force, your power output's going to be pretty low. If you're really strong and you're not very fast, right, you're not going to be able to produce a lot of power. It's that sort of sweet spot between the two where we want to hang out. And what I see a lot in climbers is that it's important for them to build that peak strength, build that peak lower body strength in order to really optimize their power output on the wall. That's more for the dynamic type movements that we're talking about, dynos, big jumps, kind of slab, dancey type movements in comp style boulders. But this also comes into play in heel hooks, in high stepping, all of these movements that are super common throughout the language of movement on the climbing wall will become easier with higher strength in the lower body. Those are the 3 main reasons that I like to program lower body strength into people's programs. One of the subsidiary benefits that I often kind of squeeze into people's program if they're not quite bought in, is that high intensity, low volume, lower body strength can actually stimulate a really great hormonal adaptation in our body that's going to support recovery systemically. So you can do a lower body strength workout and you can actually, because hormones have a systemic effect, you can get a recovery benefit or a recovery adaptation in the upper body. So those are some of the main reasons that I like to incorporate lower body work. Once I have a climber on board with integrating a lower body program, one of the most common questions I get is, great, I'm on board, how do I do it? What do I do? I like to kind of keep it pretty simple with climbers. And I'll generally say, let's start with like a plyometric movement, like say a box jump or something like that. Let's keep the reps low for that, maybe in the 3 to 5 rep range with a high intent, right? You want to have really intentional movement with plyometrics. You shouldn't necessarily be reaching muscular failure with plyometrics. What we want to be experiencing more is kind of taxing our nervous system, really getting our nervous system fired up to recruit really powerfully and quickly. So maybe like a 5x5 or a 6 or 7x5 rep range, depending on your training background and how long you've been incorporating it. Second piece is a heavy barbell movement. This could be a trap bar deadlift, this could be a barbell front squat, and what I would normally do is have people warm up with a set or two at 50-60% of their max, and then build to 85-90% of their max at 3 to 5 repetitions for maybe about 4 to 5 sets, again, depending on their training background. Third piece would be more of a single leg drill. This could be, high box step ups, lateral step ups, forward step ups, something along those lines, something that challenges sort of a little bit of single leg stability through a full range of motion. And similarly, I would put that rep range into like the 4 to 6 rep range, reaching near failure, maybe 1 or 2 reps in reserve at the tail end of that. So that would be a really simple strength program for the lower extremity that would A, not promote bulking, and B, not create a ton of muscular soreness and muscular fatigue that you need to recover from. Now, of course, when you first get started with a lower body program, you're gonna be beat, right? If you haven't done lower body, your legs are gonna feel stiff, they're gonna feel sore, but that's not necessarily the target of a strength training program. You don't have to be sore, you don't have to have muscle fatigue, kind of walk funny for a couple of days after you've done a strength program in order to get the benefits. That's supported in the research, although it's still a bit of a myth that we see people coming in with. So although at first you might be quite sore because it's a novel stimulus, that should sort of slip away and you're going to continue to see those strength gains coming without the same degree of muscle soreness. So to go along with this, we've created a PDF that you guys can download in the caption below. If you want to see more climbing content, let us know in the comments and subscribe to our channel. Looking forward to hearing from you.